Do you know how much you're going to need to save for retirement? Most people don't until they're much closer to retirement when they know what their expenses are. But when you're just starting your career, you're in your 30s, into your 40s, into your early 50s even, you probably don't have the right insight to know what your expenses are. So I like to look at how much are you making and then using that to determine what that savings goal is. So only going to use 3 different data points to really kind of calculate out what your savings should be. Please let me know if you think this is realistic and how much you might need to save for retirement. Now, before I dive into everything, please like and subscribe. Again, please drop in the comment how much your savings goal should be. So I've got a couple quick little things here. In the event that somebody's salary would end at 50,000, and then I have a quick little thing on their replacement value. So if they're saving maybe 10% of their money into the retirement, obviously they don't need that as a replacement, so I put 80% here. Social Security, I'm doing a percentage again of 35%. So the income difference, because this is automatically going to be coming in your Social Security every single year, you need to come up with the difference to make the 45,000, which is 27.5. Using the rule of 25, that's about $687,000. Now again, this is almost as if somebody was retiring today. And again, you need these 3 data points. Now, if you're just starting in your career, I would drop in, maybe that 30%, 40%, some type of number in there. But you don't know what your ending salary is going to be. You can kind of guess what your replacement value might be over time. So let's dive into a couple different websites and figure out what your ending salary might be if you're just starting out today, or maybe you only have 10 years left. Now, first off, I would say go to, if you have been working for quite some time, maybe go to ssa.gov and get your real Social Security numbers, because that's going to give you a better insight into how much you need to save, because that's going to give you the floor automatically of what you're going to get every single year. Now, again, I'm going to put these links in the descriptions so you can use this future salary calculator. So I'm going to use the scenario. First off, I'm going to do 2 different scenarios so you can kind of see, and I'll change the numbers as we go. One that is somebody just starting their career, and maybe somebody that's using the same salary but only has about 10 more years left. So in this scenario, we have somebody that's making $50,000. We anticipate a 3% increase, and they're going to work for 45 years. So if you're at 22 years old, coming out of college or whatever, and you're making $50,000, you want to work till 67. Again, you could change these numbers a little bit yourself. We're going to use this future salary calculator, and after 45 years, your ending salary is going to be $189,000. That probably will shock a lot of you. I mean, you're taking a salary of 50, you're doubling it, and you're almost, adding another, and almost doubling it again. It is close to $200,000 over 45 years. If you don't think that's realistic, I thought I'd bring up a funny scenario of the first car I bought, which was about 26 years ago. The MSRP, as you can see here, of my 1995 Chevy Beretta was about $12,500. If I double that once to $25,000, about doubled again, that's about $50,000. It's actually what the average car is today, and that's only about 30 years. Now, I think cars have appreciated a lot faster the last couple of years, so maybe that's throwing it off a little bit. But I do think this calculation is actually quite accurate. So if you're just starting your career today, making $50,000, when you're about ready to retire, you could be close to $190,000. So let's go back to our Excel sheet and put that number in. We're going to put in the one, we're going to do 189. We're going to get it as close as we can to that. So we're going to put in 189. We're going to do a 90% replacement value today. I think, if you want to live it up, great. I think most places do say you could do an 80, but I'm going to do 90 right off the bat because you want to spend a lot in retirement. We're going to do the estimated Social Security. Again, it should cover about 40%, but again, maybe this person's a little bit more of a higher net worth. I'm going to do about a 35% replacement value. Just trying to be a little on the conservative side. I'm not going to do the 40% replacement value. But you can see you're going to get about $66,000 every single year coming in from Social Security. You're going to need to make up the difference. That's about $103,000. Using the 4% rule, you're going to need almost $2.6 million. So, quick way for you to say, how much do I need if I'm just starting my career? Again, really, some of these things you can change. You can change what you anticipate Social Security is going to replace, as well as your replacement value. So if you think, no, I don't need a full 90%, I could probably live on 60% of my ending salary. It's only 113, and here you can see you only need about $1.2 million. But still, it is $1.2 million. Most people don't even come close to that. Again, this is in 45 years, so it's much more realistic in some ways. I'm going to move this back up to 90%. Let's do one more scenario. So I thought this would be maybe you've already been working for many, many years. You are closer to that 50 years or maybe 55 years. Maybe you're in sort of my perspective, and you're going to look at, again, you make about $50,000 right now. You think you're going to get about a 3% raise for the next 10 years. Your ending salary, hopefully in those 10 years, is about $67,000. So if we add in the $67,000, and again, if you are saving easily 10%, which I recommend everybody do, at least 10%, your replacement value is $60,000. If this is how much is coming in through Social Security, again, if you're in your mid or early 50s, you can easily go out to ssa.gov, grab that sheet, look at what the replacement value might be, and you could put the percentage here to make it equal that amount. And again, in this case, the person needs to come up with another $36,000 each year themselves, so they're going to need a little over $900,000. Again, that's at a 90%. Most financial advisors, again, if you look out there on the internet, I think they say about a 75 or 70% to 80% return. Let's put it at 75%. I think that's, many people could definitely live very well off of that replacement value. Again, with $23,000 coming in from Social Security, that drops it down to $670,000 in savings. So you can quickly use something like this to give you a gauge of how well you're doing and give you goals that you might want to do. Now, of course, as you get closer to retirement, you're going to probably base it more off of your expenses. But if you're 10 years out, 15 years out, 25 years, 40 years out, I think doing something like this every couple of years can really put you in the right mindset to understand how much you need to save to give you that goal. I hope you found this interesting. Again, I wish I had something like this when I was starting my career, and so that's why I thought I'd do this video. If you thought it was interesting, again, please like, subscribe, maybe share it with somebody. I'd be curious to hear what other people think in doing something like this. And again, if you did this, obviously the numbers really are very dependent upon you. You could put in your family income here. Maybe both you and your wife make a certain amount. Maybe you both make, I'm going to say $100,000 each. You want to do that 75% replacement value. Here is what's coming in from Social Security. You're going to need to come up with 80%, and you need about $2 million to save for retirement. So hope you found this interesting, and see you in the next one. Thank you.